Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, let's just dive right into it today, because we're talking about a phenomenon that honestly affects almost every single one of us. To really get this, I want you to picture someone. We'll call him Alex. Now, Alex has been stuck at his corporate accounting job for 10 whole years. Every single morning, he wakes up with this awful pit of dread in his stomach. He is literally miserable. But here's the thing, he has a dream, a real burning passion to open up his own custom woodworking shop. But the very thought of actually quitting his stable, soul-crushing job, it completely paralyzes him. He just can't bring himself to do it. And that brings us to this massive, universal question. Why do we stay? I mean, you've probably seen a friend stay in a toxic relationship for way too long, right? You watch them suffer, you hear them complain, and you're just sitting there thinking, if this causes you so much pain, why not just leave? From the outside looking in, it seems completely irrational. Or, going back to our guy Alex, why keep working at a job you absolutely hate? Why do we keep procrastinating when we know for a fact it's going to create a massive headache for us later on? Well, the answer isn't that people somehow enjoy suffering. Not at all. What's actually happening, and this is super interesting, is that your brain genuinely prefers familiar suffering over unfamiliar uncertainty. Basically, predictable pain is something your brain already knows exactly how to handle. Which leads us to phase one, your ancient brain. You see, the mechanisms keeping Alex frozen right now aren't some modern psychological flaw. They're actually evolutionary survival tools. Our brains are incredibly complex, but at the end of the day, their main job is just to keep us alive until tomorrow. Just imagine living 40,000 years ago. Every unfamiliar sound in the forest, every unknown path, every stranger, it could literally mean death. Back then, curiosity got you killed, but caution kept you alive. So over millennia, evolution strongly rewarded brains that simply trusted what was already known. But fast forward to today, Alex isn't trying to survive a dangerous forest. He's navigating modern careers, right? Yet, he's doing it with these wildly outdated survival instincts. Because evolution rewarded the ancestors who avoided the unknown, Alex's mind is constantly whispering, stay where it's familiar. Even if that familiar place is a cubicle that makes him totally miserable, his brain registers it as known, which directly translates to safe. His brain is honestly doing its job perfectly. It's just operating on software from 40,000 BC. This evolutionary quirk creates what we're calling phase two, the comfort zone trap. We hear this all the time, right? Oh, you gotta step outside your comfort zone. But that term is actually kind of misleading when it comes to understanding why Alex stays stuck. A true comfort zone should be exactly that, comfortable, relaxed, safe. But what Alex is dealing with isn't comfort at all. It's the familiar zone. And the familiar zone is packed with negative thoughts, repeating mistakes, and predictable pain. Alex's misery is basically masquerading as a safe harbor to his ancient brain. He's not staying because he's happy, he's staying because his unhappiness is 100% predictable. So what's actually stopping him from leaving? Enter phase three, the fear of uncertainty. A lot of times, we assume people don't follow their dreams because they're afraid of failing. But the real villain here isn't the fear of failure. It's the complete inability to predict what happens next. The brain's absolute favorite thing to do is predict. When it can't, it hits the panic button. Just consider these super common modern scenarios. Starting a new business, like Alex wants to do. Moving to a new city, speaking in public, changing up your daily routine. None of these are life-threatening, but because they're unfamiliar, they strip the brain of its predictive power. So the brain incorrectly sounds a massive alarm, flooding your body with stress like there's a literal predator in the room. And this cycle is totally driven by phase four, loops and shortcuts. Have you ever wondered why Alex takes the exact same route to work, grabs the exact same coffee, and falls into the exact same cycle of dread every single day? Here's how it works. First, the brain wants to conserve energy, so it creates a mental shortcut. Second, even if that pattern is totally unhealthy, it's built to reduce the mental effort of having to make new choices. And third, through sheer repetition, the behavior becomes completely automatic. So breaking out of this isn't just about handing in a 2-week notice. Alex is actively having to fight against years of deeply entrenched neurological programming. But let's say Alex finally reaches his breaking point. This brings us to phase 5, the edge of the cliff. This is the climax of his story. He's got his resignation letter. He's standing right outside his boss's office, about to leap into the unknown. What's happening inside his body right now? Well, think about the absurdity of our biology here. Facing physical danger, like standing at the edge of an actual physical cliff, triggers the exact same bodily reactions as psychological uncertainty, like quitting a stable job. For Alex, the symptoms are identical. Sweaty palms, racing thoughts, pounding heart. The brain simply doesn't distinguish perfectly between a physical threat and a psychological one. And that is exactly why making a positive life change feels physically terrifying. So is Alex just doomed? Are we all just prisoners to our ancient biology? Absolutely not. Let's look at phase 6, rewiring your brain. This is where Alex discovers the ultimate scientific superpower that allows us to leap into the unknown and actually thrive. Our brains aren't fixed in stone. They're remarkably adaptable. That superpower is called neuroplasticity. It's basically your brain's ability to physically rewire itself, form new connections, and literally learn that an unfamiliar situation doesn't automatically mean a death sentence. By exposing himself to the unknown, Alex can challenge and rewrite his own programming. But how does he actually pull that off? Well, he doesn't jump off the cliff all at once. Alex starts with deliberate, incremental steps. First, he chooses a healthier habit. Maybe he just spends 1 hour a weekend on his woodworking business plan. He speaks up in a single meeting despite being afraid. He just takes one small step outside that familiar zone. And every single time he does this, he's teaching his ancient brain a brand new lesson. He's saying, look, I did something unpredictable and hey, I survived. The unknown is actually safe. Over time, all this practice brings us to phase 7, choosing progress over fear. Eventually, Alex's new weekend woodworking routine becomes his new familiar. What once felt completely impossible and terrifying has just become his normal. He navigated a major life change, not by somehow eliminating fear, but by changing his relationship to it. I really want you to let this quote sink in. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing progress despite fear. The ultimate takeaway here is that your brain is never trying to sabotage you. It honestly loves you. It's just fiercely trying to protect you using some really outdated rules. To achieve true growth today, you have to acknowledge those ancient alarm bells and then consciously choose to step into the uncertainty anyway. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one single, incredibly powerful question. The next time you find yourself stuck in a loop, dreading your day, or clinging to a situation that makes you deeply unhappy, ask yourself this. Am I staying because this is genuinely good for me? Or am I staying simply because it's familiar? Be totally honest with yourself here. Answering that question might just be the very first step in finally working with your brain instead of against it.